The most powerful decision-making tool in the Agile toolbox is also the most underused, which is weird because outside of Agile, we use it all the time. Hi, my name is Gary Strawn. Welcome to Development That Pays, the channel that helps you to get the most out of Agile. Where to start today? Let's start with this guy. This is my friendly neighborhood builder. He, together with a small team, swapped these rotten old doors for this single aluminium beauty. But before he did any of that, he provided me with an estimate. The estimate, let's call it the builder's estimate, answered two questions. When will it be ready? And perhaps more importantly, at least from my point of view, how much will it cost? It's worth taking a moment to think about the margin of error here. If you've ever done any building work, any remodeling, you'll know that it always takes longer than you expect, and it always costs more. And that, to a certain degree anyway, is expected. After all, it's an estimate rather than a quotation. But how much longer and how much more? The pain can often be hidden in percentages, so let's talk cold, hard cash. Say my builder's estimate was £10,000. If the final bill comes in at £11,000, I'm probably okay with that. If it's 12,000 or even more, then my builder goes from friendly neighborhood to simply neighborhood. So margin of error-wise, it seems that there's an unspoken rule that providing things have gone relatively smoothly, the final bill will be within 10 to 20% of the original estimate. And that narrow margin of error is what makes the builder's estimate useful for decision making, specifically the decision of whether or not to go ahead with the project in the first place. Question for you: what's our Agile equivalent of the builder's estimate? It's not the estimate. It may have the same name, but it's a very different animal. A story point estimate applies to a single work item rather than to a body of work. It answers a different question, and it does so with a huge margin of error. No, the equivalent we're looking for is the forecast. If I forecast that a certain piece of functionality will be ready in 10 weeks, then I've answered the question, when will it be ready? I've also answered the question, how much will it cost? At least I have if we're operating in software development, where almost all of the cost is tied up in paying the team members and keeping the lights on. Put it another way, if we know in a software development project how long it's going to take, we pretty well know how much it's going to cost. So far, so good, but what about margin of error? Well, if I gave you a forecast of 10 weeks, I don't think you'd be upset with an overrun of just 1 week, but you're likely to be less happy if the overrun is 2 weeks or more. How interesting, another unspoken agreement on margin of error, and again, in the range somewhere between 10 and 20%. Good enough, if you ask me, for some serious decision making, not only for the go, no-go decision, but also for coordination with other business activities. But the rather curious reality is that very few Agile teams forecast at all, either because they think it's not a thing, or because they think that it involves far too much work. These are just two of the myths that I bust in a brand new training that I've put together for you. How your teams can achieve predictability and productivity without burnout. Getting into the training is simplicity itself. Somewhere around this video, most likely in the description below, you'll find a link. Click that link, follow the instructions, and you are in. In the training, you'll learn about the small, often surprising things that will help your Agile teams to get more done, more predictably. Yes, I am talking about forecasting, and have more fun doing it. Click that link, click the big button, enter your name and email address, and you're in. I look forward to seeing you on the inside.